This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. Mr. Fuller, I'm curious about, the territory system and how it worked in regards to guys coming in and knowing how long they were going to be there, sort of when they started. We've often heard the phrase, well, you should rent, don't buy. But Arn tells us, well, it's not like you didn't know what was coming. How would you request talent from other promoters and sort of work out what their start and finish dates were when a guy came in? And was that not always the case? Sometimes it just worked out. They were happy, you were happy, and you just kept them a long time. Like Arn was there for, I guess a year and a half.
We did things business differently. It was really funny. When I started Southeastern in Knoxville, it took me almost 2 years to get that business really, really cooking and on fire. And I was struggling to get talent during that time frame, and and then calling a lot of different promoters and calling and asking them who you got and who can I get. I was desperate, but boy, once it started selling out, and once every town was selling out, wrestlers were like the old saying was, if you wanted the message to get sent, it was a telephone, telegraph, or tele-wrestler. And, and that's the way it worked. Once that thing started to get on fire, the strips were really short in both my territories, which was a real benefit to us. So your longest trip in Knoxville was about 120 miles. I was like, wow. And most trips were 40 miles. So, it was just basically a one-town territory, and you ran all the small towns around it. And once you started selling out like that, I never did ever have to go and ask anybody for talent or to help me find somebody. My phone rang off the wall with guys wanting to come, and they didn't care about how long it was going to be. They were just like, Ron, I hear you're on fire there. And I hear we had guys making in the smallest territory probably in the world at that time, the Southeastern, a little small area around Knoxville. We had guys making $1,200 and $1,500 a week when other territories were making $700. So we had tremendous talent, and it was easy to keep them. My problem was in getting them to go. I would go and tell somebody, look, and it got to be so bad that Bob Armstrong was with me all the time. I got that down face, and I got that really depressed look out of them. I couldn't take it. It really hurt me. So I told Bob at one point, I said, Bob, you're going to have to give notices. And he goes, why, Ron? And I said, because I can't take it. I go, then none of them want to go. Then they all want to go. No, Ron, please. It was like, I love it here. So, it was easy for us. It wasn't, I don't know how everybody else did, and I don't know that everybody else called around. I think that probably a lot of guys did that. A lot of promoters kind of dealt with each other quite a bit. Only person I dealt with much on a regular basis, and not a regular basis, I dealt with nobody on a regular basis. Sometimes Jerry Jarrett in Memphis and I would swap a little talent because it made sense. We were about 400 miles apart, and most of his guys were in Nashville. So I got a few guys from Jerry, and I would give him a few guys from me. And then when guys leave me, they would go to Jerry a lot. And when they left Memphis, they would come to my side of the state. But it was a kind of a unique territory. I found out that once you get on fire and once you get your territory cranked up, if you've got short trips, that's what wrestlers were looking for. They were beating themselves to death on the roads before they started flying. And it was just horrible. You were in Florida, Carolina. Wow, that's a big one. I mean, you didn't have very short trips.
Let my family save your family some cash. You don't need perfect credit. You don't need money out of your pocket, but we will save you money. It's not a matter if, it's a matter of how much. SaveWithConrad.com.
Guys were willing to work for half the money if they could get a short trip.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to look back at, because as we're talking about Arn's journey through the territories, he's telling us how miserable the road trips were working for Bill Watts, and how guys didn't just have one spare tire, they had two, because the roads were so bad and the trips were so long. And then it gets to you, and you're in your bed every night and you're on the beach every day. It's a quality of life that he couldn't have anywhere else. And that's probably why so many great talents, I mean, a who's who came through the territory. Rattle off a list of names. I mean, we've talked about Ric Flair and we've talked about Andre the Giant, but it really does read like a who's who worked for your promotion through the years.
Oh man, all kinds of the Schultz. David Schultz started there. Joe LeDuc, Mongolian Stomper, the Austin Idols. Gosh, I wish I had some sheets in front of me. I mean, literally, we had Paul Ondorf worked for my company. Like I said, to Honky Tonk Man before he was Honky Tonk Man, and Brutus the Barber. Hulk Hogan was in there. So many great wrestlers, and the great talent. Tag teams were just Arn and Stubbs and the Sheep Herders. It was an amazing little deal, man, and it was a wonderful time frame. Business was really good. Mobile was actually, Knoxville was actually even better trip-wise than Pensacola was. I mean, you would be in Knoxville on a Friday, and your Saturday night you'd be 40 miles away in Morristown, or you'd be 100 miles away in Harlan, Kentucky. Harlan, Kentucky had a population of 3,000. When you went into the city, there was a sign on the road that said population 3,000. We'd have 3,000 in the gym. We'd have the whole city was in the gym. I mean, it's like we'd be drawing $10,000-$15,000 on $3 a ticket in Harlan, Kentucky. It's just amazing, man. And the trips were just absolutely phenomenally short, and guys didn't want to leave. You had a hard time when you gave the notice, and and they would wait. I would have a list of 10 big time names on my list waiting to come, and I'm just waiting to figure out who am I going to send out. And as you said earlier, as we talked about, we didn't switch out talent a whole lot. We kept guys for a long time, and we just switched angles. We did a lot of angles. We did a lot of creativity, and we created something for everybody. We had sometimes have 14 guys in the crew, and 10 of them would be in angles. 5 matches, we'd have 7 matches, and 5 matches got hot angles in them. And but you had to do it, because, as you said, we weren't in those big cities, and we were going to be back there next week, and we just had to keep that creativity going.
The one thing that really was so critical, Ron, and it's, you've seen the evolution of the business, and I've really been right in the middle of it, but the ability to work is what made that possible. Guys could perform, and it would be, okay, we're just going to change your outlook. You're going to go from being a heel to a baby face. But the ability to go out and perform and work and make that new frame of mind, if you want to put it that way, possible for the fans, you had to come behind it, and you had to be able to work in those days. There was only a spot for maybe one gimmick babyface and maybe one gimmick heel on a crew, and the rest of the guys could work their ass off. And you would just say, okay, you're mad at your cousin because this reason, and we're going to play this out on TV. And now your ability to follow up and make it happen in the ring was just critical.
Yeah, it was like having interchangeable parts. You could just you knew that the engine's going to run good. You just got to put this guy over here, and you got to put that guy over there. And you're right. If you've got great talent, they can sell anything. They can make any match work. And that's basically, as a booker, you didn't have to worry. You had everybody in your crew. When I first started my first company in Knoxville, I had maybe 6 top guys and 6 guys underneath guys. And as I kept growing companies and going from Southeastern down to Pensacola and then creating Continental, I end up with every guy was the top guy. I remember one night in Dothan, Alabama, and you probably remember days like this, Arn. The first match was Bob Armstrong against Ron Bass.
Wow.
That was the opening match. There were 6 matches. That was the opening match. And when I looked at the card, I said, that's where it ought to be. I mean, everybody above them are all great workers. You know, I mean, so, you know, and that's how you did it in those days. That's how you sold out these towns, the same ones week after week, is that you just had phenomenal crews. You had phenomenal angles. Guys went out there and worked and gave their hearts and their souls, and the fans knew it. They recognized it. They saw it. They could tell these guys are really doing it, man. And it was just a phenomenal period. And there was a lot of other territories, I guess, that were doing the same type of deal back in the day. And I think that's why the territory days were so spectacular. And you know, that's why the old timers and fans that went back years ago, they still want to go back and talk about that era.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.